reptiles, but kangaroos know too well to leave all snakes alone. Brown snakes kill more humans than any other snakes in Australia. But it's not the biggest reptile in the neighbourhood. This is. The Perenti, reaching 8 feet long, venomous and fast on its feet. A large Perenti will eat a small kangaroo. But today, it's got its eye on an eastern brown snake. The forked tongue of the Perenti follows the brown snake's chemical scent trail and leads him to an abandoned burrow. A burrow with only one entrance. With a Perenti in the picture, a sanctuary can easily become a death trap. The body of one fearsome reptile disappears into the body of another. The months roll on, and Rusty has grown in both size and experience. He weighs 150 pounds now and has dozens of sparring matches under his belt. Today, he finds himself with a mob he's met before. The one with the tough male who intimidated him last time. But that was 5 years ago, and Rusty's not running away this time. Each tries to attack his rival's head. Each instinctively keeps his own head back out of range. Although highly ritualized, fights between dominant males can mean a future as king or a loner, depending on the outcome. Testicles can be retracted. Don't want those damaged. Rusty, with the darker fur, is putting up a good fight, but the alpha male is more experienced. The females don't care who wins, just so long as he's got good genes. But Rusty is younger than his opponent and in top fighting form. Finally, the king goes down. Now the mob is paying attention. Rusty's the top male now, and to the victor go the spoils. His first choice is this female, though he needs to give her urine the sniff test to make sure she's ovulating. She's ready. But Rusty has only a brief window of opportunity. She may only be receptive for a matter of hours. Better get to it. Mating doesn't take long, or wouldn't if there were only one female to consider. But Rusty's got miles to go before he sleeps. He's king kangaroo now, and in addition to regular mating duties, he'll have to fend off other young roos who'd like to knock him off his throne, just as he did his predecessor. But that's not all Rusty has to worry about. The temperature is soaring, and the land is drying out. Evaporation is sucking the life out of everything, flora and fauna alike. You can never tell when the weather will change, only that it will. And that's the origin origin of some of the red kangaroo's most amazing adaptations. They're masters of heat regulation. The fur on their backs reflects about 30% of incoming heat and keeps their skin cool, the blue parts of this thermal footage. Spreading saliva over their forearms cools the blood, which has been brought close to the skin surface via a dense cobweb of capillaries. With temperatures simmering above 100 degrees for over a week, a third of the males have already become infertile. If these temperatures were to continue for 3 more months, the number would more than double. Reds defend their sperm by licking their scrotums to keep them cool. And in contrast to their battle strategy of retracting the scrotum, males let their testicles hang way down below their overheated trunks, keeping them about 7 degrees cooler than at their cores. The sand, even a few inches down, is cooler than at the surface. Red kangaroos dig until they reach cooler soil, and then it hasn't rained in months now. The dry, dead grass offers Rusty no nourishment. But then, unfortunately, these are dry electrical storms. No rain will come from them. But something else will. Something worse than hunger. Lightning has ignited the dry grass of the outback. The kangaroos can easily outrun a grass fire. Almost 10% of arid Australia can burn like this in a single year. In a matter of hours, the fire consumes what little forage there is. Rusty has to move on. But there's really nowhere to go. Not this time. Parts of desert Australia are in the grip of a once-in-a-century drought, while heat waves smash temperature records. Nothing that lives here has ever experienced anything like it, Rusty included. Some are suffering from severe malnutrition and dehydration. But if anyone can survive this, it's a red kangaroo. Human bodies are about 60% water. Rusty's is over 70%. Even in a heat wave like this, he can survive levels of dehydration that would kill most humans. Reds only sweat when they're on the move. At rest, they pant, which uses less water than sweating. Raising their breathing rate to over 200 breaths a minute reduces their deep body temperature and cools their brains. And of course, they cover their limbs in cooling saliva. But there's a price to pay. Licking uses up precious water. If the drought continues much longer, this form of cooling will be too costly. The kangaroos stay under whatever shade they can find. When times get this tough, females switch off their milk supply. Maternal instinct is strong, self-preservation is stronger. Unweaned offspring outside the pouch are the first to die, and the young in the pouches are next. As it dies, the female reactivates her waiting embryo, but if the drought persists, it too will die, and she will stop reproducing altogether. Even Rusty, one of the strongest, is in trouble. In these conditions, the males are the first to succumb, especially the largest, who, like Rusty, need more food. The demise of the red kangaroos is the wedge-tailed eagle's bounty. And it's not just the kangaroos that are suffering. The drought is taking its toll everywhere. Predators turn on each other to protect a tiny piece of rancid meat. This is the last remaining waterhole. It's stagnant and salty. Ordinarily, the animals would never drink this water. But desperation drives them. The drought makes for uneasy bedfellows. This is a sign of things to come. Heat waves in Australia are becoming hotter and more frequent. The intense dry heat continues and the casualties mount. Among them are many of Rusty's offspring. In some parts of these desolate lands, drought can kill 8 out of every 10 kangaroos. But Australia's desert inhabitants are a resilient bunch. After all, these may have been the hottest temperatures for the last 100 years. But these species have successfully weathered the climate for tens of thousands of years. Rusty is still here, conserving his energy and biding his time. A change is going to come. It always has. After 12 months of merciless drought, the landscape is dotted with the remains of those that couldn't hang on any longer. But in the Australian outback, all bad things come to an end. Eventually. Thunderclouds are gathering in the distance. Rusty seems to sense a change in the weather. Somewhere there is rain, and where there is water, there will also soon be food. He just has to get there. With what remains of his ebbing strength, Rusty heads in the direction of a storm. As do the other red kangaroos that have made it this far. Rusty reaches the area watered by the storms, he finds a world restored by rain. Plenty to eat, plenty to drink. You can almost see the relief and joy in their hopping. They will stay here and take in the nourishment. In only a few weeks, males and females will have their health restored, and soon they'll be ready to reproduce once again. But before that can happen, they have to make it through this. A pack of hungry dingoes. Hunting in a pack more than doubles a dingo's success rate. Normally, they go for the weakest kangaroos in the group. But a pack of this size can take down something bigger. Something like Rusty. Luckily, his strength is completely restored, and he can travel at full tilt. Rusty doesn't accelerate by bounding faster, but by bounding further. He lengthens his leaps, at times covering 25 feet in a single bound. Once he gets past 10 miles an hour, Rusty rockets along with little extra effort, while the dingo's forelegs need to move ever faster. Now hitting 25 miles an hour, Rusty's only using about half of the energy the dogs are putting in. They have no chance of catching him. Now Rusty can turn his attention to replacing the offspring lost to the drought. At 200 pounds, powerful, and in the prime of life, there's no question that he's the dominant male of this gang. The young he fathers will need an advantage to survive a world as harsh and unpredictable as this one. What greater advantage could there be than to begin life as the progeny of the undisputed king of the red kangaroo mob?